Hello class, it is Wednesday for English, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start by reading our devotion for today, and then we'll jump into English. You guys are almost done. You're so close. Alright, we're at Joseph, favorite son of Jacob. But Joseph said to his brothers, "Don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis 15:19. So this is about Joseph in his coat of many colors. That's that Joseph, not Joseph as in Jesus' dad. Joseph was no victim. Though the Bible recounts the episode after episode of wrongs being done to him, Joseph knew, after perhaps learned, that ultimately God was in charge of everything, and he was working all things together for the good of his people. Joseph was the 11th and favorite son of Jacob, and his favorite status earned him resentment from his brothers, who eventually sold him as a slave to some merchants traveling to Egypt. Once there, Joseph was sold to a royal official named Potiphar, who quickly recognized and benefited from Joseph's administrative gifts. Later, Potiphar's wife falsely accused Joseph of harming her, and he was thrown in prison. While in prison, Joseph demonstrated the ability to interpret dreams, and he was brought before Pharaoh to examine and to explain some troubling dreams. Joseph correctly foretold a great famine that was going to come upon the world. So Pharaoh evaluated him and elevated him to second in command for the kingdom. The famine drove Joseph's brothers to Egypt for food as well, and after a series of interactions with them, Joseph revealed his identity to them. Joseph's brothers feared that he would seek revenge on him for selling him into slavery, but Joseph recognized that God was orchestrating the events of his life for the good of his people, and that he should not assume the role of God and repay his brothers for their wrongs against him. Spiritual insight. When others commit wrongs against us and cause us hardship, it is understandable if we feel angry and desire that God bring justice to our situation. Ultimately, however, we should recognize that we are not really at their mercy, but at the mercy of God, who loves us and is always working all things together for our good. Meaning is let him add. And first reference we see is in Genesis 30:24, and the last reference is in Hebrews 11:22. Tomorrow we'll talk about Joseph as in Jesus' earthly father. So let's look here on page 150 in your books, in 8.6. We're still in these clauses. So dependent clauses can be used as nouns. These clauses are called noun clauses. They function as subject complements, appositives, direct objects, indirect objects, or objects of the preposition. Now let's kind of go through what those mean. Now remember, subject complements rename the subject. Appositives just give extra information to the subject. Direct objects are who or what the actions being done, and indirect objects is for whom or for what. And objects of the preposition there, they're the objects of the prepositional phrase. Like in the box is the object of the preposition. Okay, so keeping that in mind, we're going to look at what you're going to be doing. So it's exercise 3, 1. No, it's exercise 1 through 10 is what we're going to be looking at. So, exercise 1, 1 through 10. And you're doing the even numbers only. So, let's look at, since you're doing the evens, I'm going to do the odds with you. You can look up there and see some of the words that's being used in the examples, like that our project would be a time capsule was never in doubt. That was the where the noun clause started. So let's look at number 1 together. That time capsules are popular is an undisputed fact. That is the noun clause, and it's describing time capsules are time capsules are popular. That's kind of the whole phrase there, is The time capsules are popular, and it begins with time. No, it begins with that. I'm sorry, it begins with that. Okay, let's do number 3 together. What a time capsule is designed to do is to give a glimpse of a specific moment in time. What is where the noun clause is starting, and it goes all the way until what it is designed to do, because it's that whole subject there. Let's do number 5 together. That people often include a favorite poem, a family tree, and current newspaper in time capsules is no secret. So it begins with that, and it goes all the way until capsules, because that is acting as the predicate. It's acting as predicate. Alrighty, so let's skip over to 8.7. So you only have to do 5 on that 8.6, and you're going to do 5 on this page too. So we're going to do exercise 3, and you're going to do 1 through 10 even. So let's look, let's look at what this is. So that was 8.6 is used as subjects. Now we're going to be using them as subject complements. So these are going to be things that rename the subject. So the problem was the choice of a subject for my report. The problem was that I couldn't decide on the subject for my report. In the first sentence, the subject is problem. The verb links the subject to the subject complement. So let's just let's go to exercise 3. We're going to identify the noun clause in each sentence and tell if the noun clause is used as a subject or a subject complement. That fireplaces were dangerous was a common concern of life. We know that is our signal word for our noun clause, and it's used as the subject. Let's do number 5 together. Franklin's greatest assets was how he never stopped being curious. How he never stopped being curious is our noun clause, and it's renaming the asset, Franklin's asset, so it's a subject complement. Number 7, that he founded the first library is well documented. That is our signal word for our noun clause, and the whole thing is that he founded the first library, and the is where that predicate starts. So you're only doing 5 of those, and then you guys were going to read. So that's for today, for Wednesday. And then tomorrow we'll be doing our last set of stuff, and then you'll be pretty much, you'll be done with English for the year.